My name is Dajah Jones. I am the program manager for the Georgia Office of Victim Services. I've worked in this role, well, for the office for about 5 years now. My role is to manage the programs that we have within our office, which are our Victim Offender Dialogue Program, which is where crime victims can request to sit down with an offender and ask them questions that only the offender might know, or just ask facts about the crime, maybe last words that their loved one said, or even just get their input across to the offenders themselves rather than writing into the board. I oversee our case review system, which is where our specialists reach out to the victims and get their input, let them know that the board is considering their cases, and oversee and making sure that there's no gaps missed when it comes to notifying the crime victims and getting all of their correspondence back to the board. So right now we have our crisis incident stress management program. We have a comfort dog. His name is Asher that actually won an award for Marsy's Law. And just getting out and letting victims know that we exist is something that I'm grateful for. Marsy's Law is really one of the reasons why our office exists because we are able to notify victims based on that law. And it's made a difference making sure that victims' voices are heard, whether it's through our processes, our victim impact sessions, victim dialogue programs. Marcy's Law is built into a lot of what we do. First, they were able to just know what was going on with their offender when they will be released, and they are also able to write into the board anytime that particular person is up for parole. They're able to safety plan, request special conditions. If the offender is ever released, that they have that peace of mind to know that their input is something that is taken into strong consideration when it comes to this person being considered for parole. So it is definitely open to more than just victims themselves. We use the terminology register victims because those are, you have to register to be notified with our office, but we do notify the victims themselves. It can be attorneys, victim advocates, people in the community that want to know. Of course, you know that victimization isn't just for the victim themselves. You have secondary victims as well when it comes to like their family members or other people that are related to the victim in any way, shape, or form. So as long as you want to be notified, you do have the ability to get that information from our office. So we have a program that's called our Attempt to Locate specialized project that we're working on. Previously, like I mentioned, we victims have to request and register with our office. So now we are going out to locate victims and letting them know that we exist and that we can get them registered with us because that seems to be a lot of gap, especially with older cases before victims' rights really became popular within our communities. A lot of people didn't know that they had the ability to write into our office and just be notified about their offenders. So that's a special project. And I was working on that case when I first working on that project when I first got to the Office of Victim Services, and I was able to locate a case that was over 20 years old and the victim never knew about us. And now she's registered and can now maintain that contact with our office. I could think of one specifically. We incorporated another program to our office known as Victim Impact Sessions. It's where crime victims are allowed to sit face to face with board members and voice their concerns. So similar to what we do when we notify victims, but that method is more of paper or email correspondence. This particular method allows a face-to-face interaction, which, you know, can be a lot more impactful to see the face behind the letter and feel those emotions in person. That is something that is very touching to me because not everyone gets that opportunity, but for the people who are, they are very grateful, especially to express pain that they haven't been able to, whether it's been 5 years, 30 years, or more. So that is something that touches me the most. I would just say the fact that the Georgia Office of Victim Services exists is something that isn't common knowledge, but we're working to make sure every day that it is. Just to know that it doesn't just end at the sentencing stage, that there are things that come afterwards, especially when it comes to parole. People are released back into the streets. So just making sure that everyone knows that their voices are heard and they are cared about, that we value their safety, we value their voices. So there are a few methods that you can use to register with our office. The first method that I recommend is via our website. So you can go to pap.ga.gov and you can go to the Victim Services section and you can fill out a form to register with our office there. You can email our office at victimservices.pap.ga.gov and request to register directly through our email. And you can also send postal mail correspondence, which is the same form that you complete online. You can print it off and mail it to our office, and we will get you registered that way. So there's a multitude of different methods, but those are our most encouraging methods of registering.